Uh, Modesta.
Oh, hi. Welcome, sir. Yes, you
Yeah.
can start now. Welcome.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I'll start then. All right. So
Yeah. Thank you so much.
good morning to some of us. Yeah. Good afternoon. And yeah, I think it's just morning and afternoon. And to some of us that in Nigeria, good evening. All right. So I believe the host has done all the introduction that I think you need to know about me. Yeah, but for those of us that didn't get the name, my name is Benga Johnson, and I am a project manager. Yeah, amongst other professions that I've been privileged to manage. Yeah, but in all, yeah, there's still a core in everything that I've done. You know, either as a business analyst, um, as a digital transformation specialist, as a growth um, specialist here to running a couple of startups. That is something that has always been the core, yeah, which is project management. Yeah, and today I'm going to be talking about the opportunities in project management. Yeah, but okay, I think it is IT project management, but permit me to start by talking about the opportunities in project management. Then we now connect the dots to IT project management. Please, I would be glad if everyone can just wave at me so I can confirm that I'm not just speaking to myself and Modesta alone, and maybe Ore. If
Okay,
you can
we
just
can
wave.
hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, oh, okay. All right. So I'm not sure I can see everybody. Let me click on this. Okay. Yeah, I think this is good. So we have um Mr. Adedayo, we have Mr. Dayo David, we have Ms. Ruth, we will see, and yeah, and okay, I think that's everyone. Because we have I believe it's just one route we will see, or is it just two routes we will see?
Yeah, I'm connected with two devices. It's just me.
Oh, 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 all right,
Yeah.
all right. So, I believe that the facilitator of this program have discussed with us, have told us about what project management is, and also, we've talked about, the necessary skill sets, the combined skill set that are the contributing factors to what makes a successful project manager. Yeah, I believe she has done justice in that explanation. And she also talked about, I think she talked about communication, also talked about stakeholders management. Yeah, and I want to believe that everyone here, yeah, have at some point, yeah, um, in your daily job activities, won the heart of um, you know, um, having to maybe manage your stakeholders. For example, let's say you're in the manufacturing industry and you have to just maybe, you're given an assignment, for example, here that, okay, you need to ensure that this particular product of the company, yeah, is safe enough for consumption. Yeah. Now, before you take on that task, you need to identify the people that are um, responsible for directly or indirectly handling that particular product, to ensure safety. Yeah. I'm sure you're going to be looking at, talking to the line manager. You'll be looking at talking to the quality assurance person. You'll be looking at talking to the packaging manager, yeah, and ensuring that, okay, these key people properly handles this product from coming out, when it's coming out from the let's say it's coming out from the um 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 the distill of, let's say, the filter machine, yeah, out into the line where it's going to be packaged, down to, the quality assurance, having to review that the product is of good quality, it's at the required measure, down to, where it's going to be boxed. Yeah. Now, all these people that you're talking about, you're talking to, and, trying to ensure that they fall in line are your stakeholders. Yeah. So I just thought to just, pick it, too, about, what the last facilitator have talked about. Yeah. So moving on to the opportunities in project management. Yeah. We're going to talk about, why project management, why you choose project management. And I don't think I would like to even go deep in that. Yeah, but if you don't mind, part of how I, interact with people in sessions like this is to, throw one or two questions, because I noticed that Ore has asked if anyone have questions and nobody responded. But in my own session, I will ask questions. So if you don't mind, yeah. So I'm going to call on Mr. Muyiwa. Mr. Muyiwa, if you can hear me, I would be glad if you can just unmute your mic. And I'd like to ask you, yeah, why did you choose, to be interested in IT project management in the first place?
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Mr. Muyiwa.
Okay, the reason why I did IT project management is that I have I have a soft spot for tech, and I've been looking for a skill that won't involve coding, because of, for all the aspects in tech, the aspects that I don't really, I've tried, but it's just not working for me. Is the coding part, the programming part of it. So I thought of
I
looking for
understand.
something that I would do in tech, and I will still call myself a tech bro.
Yeah, I understand.
So
I understand.
that's one of the reasons why I'm
All right.
exploring and transiting into IT project management.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. How about you, Miss Ruth? I don't know if it's Mrs., but you just pardon me. Miss Ruth, how about you? Why did you choose, to be interested in IT project management? You want to be called tech sis too?
I think for every tech skills,
Hmm?
every tech skill you may have, I'm into UI UX personally, but then for every tech skill, you need to know a little about project management first. It's like it's in use in every area. In UI UX, you need to do projects too. Web development, you need projects. I think you should have little knowledge, if not all the knowledge, but just have little knowledge of, project management to help you.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. So I'm going to be sharing some information with you that maybe probably you must have heard it somewhere, or you must have heard it only once or a very few times. Yeah. So Mr. Muyiwa, you are right. Yeah. IT project management is part of the no code tech profession here in the tech industry. Yeah. And it will come as a shocker to you that um, IT project management is one of the very few tech skills that can evolve over time into something bigger. Yeah, unlike, being a programmer. Let me give you an example, and I'm going to use Mrs. Roth's profession as an example. Please pardon me if you feel a little bit off, but yeah, as a a product designer. Yeah, so if she's into UI UX, she can also call herself a product designer. That is if she has gained a wealth of experience designing different products. Yeah, prototype. Now, ideally, yeah, if you are to start from the very scratch, you are supposed to start as a graphic designer. Yeah, so you can understand the basic fundamentals of different concept of designing. Yeah, then you move on to learning UI UX design. Now, UI UX design is what a lot of people call it, but many times, yeah, people learn more of UI design than UX design. It takes some level of experience and exposure before you can actually say, okay, you're a UI and UX designer. Now, let's say you spend like 2 years as a UI UX designer, designing different products, then you call yourself a product designer. Now, as a product designer, you can remain a product designer for 10 years, managing and designing different products. You can design as much as 1,000 products, yeah, and become maybe a senior product designer. But you don't get past that level. Yeah, you just keep amassing wealth of experience until you decide that you want to maybe venture into mobile development, or you want to venture into web development, or you want to venture into back-end, front-end, or front-end development. Or maybe you will decide that you want to be a solutions architect, which you need to go through some level of programming before you can say, okay, you're a good solutions architect. Or you want to become a cloud engineer. You get. So you have to get out of that ecosystem, yeah, to transition into another side of tech, before you can continue to progress in the way you would like to. Now, however, in IT project management, you can just start as, an entry-level IT project manager. Before you know it, you can grow into becoming a product manager. Yeah. You can, in the process of you moving yourself from just an IT project manager to product manager, you would have amassed some type of skill sets. Yeah, like stakeholders management. You have been able to develop your negotiation skills very well. You would have been able to, because of working on different type of projects, you'll be able to manage resources. Yeah, both human indirectly and also some technical resources. You would have understand a thing or two about coding. Yeah, in the process, even though you're not a programmer, you would have understand a thing or two about coding. You would have understand a thing or two about version controlling and cloud engineering. Just in this process of you managing people, developers, learning, and trying to ensure that they don't, fall out of line. You would have learned how to comprehensively predict the outcome of a project from the beginning of how it is being planned. Yeah. From being a product manager, you can move on up to becoming a chief information officer. You can move up to becoming, after even becoming a product manager, you can become a chief product manager. You can even transition into another arm, which is business analysis, IT business analysis. You can move into product growth, you can become a growth officer. Like it is endless up until you get to the point where you can maybe become a consultant, or you decide to maybe own your own startup. Yeah. So there is a ladder. Yeah. I don't know if you know that song, ladder, 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 ladder. Oh. I heard it this morning in the skits, but there is a ladder that you climb up and you can track. You can track your progress. So it is not that you are just an IT project manager. After 10 years, you are still an IT project manager. Now, because of this concern in quotes, yeah, because initially there's nothing like is a programmer, is a senior programmer, is a no. Yeah, is a senior programmer is not a title. But because they need to put, a gauge, a differentiation between someone that is just learning, that is just starting out as a programmer, and someone that have 10 years experience. Yeah, that is where you hear that, oh, job title, senior project programmer or senior DevOps. Yeah, so that is how it is. I just thought to just share this information with you before we continue. Now, if you go out there online and you search for jobs, yeah, most of the times, yeah, out of the first 10 or first 5 jobs you're going to see that will pop out to you, one of them is going to be a tech job, or maybe just 2, or maybe 3. Out of that 5, you're definitely going to see one tech job pop up. And this is to show you that there is a high demand, for tech skills. Now, there is also a higher demand for IT project manager, but in some cases, you're going to see them in different forms. So you can hear you're looking for an IT project manager slash business analyst. Don't be shy, it's almost the same thing. They're looking for, don't get confused, yeah? Sometimes you hear they're looking for product manager. As a project manager, you can also function as a product manager. So far, you've experienced the process of managing a team in developing a solution. You can easily, get the hang of what it takes to be a product manager. Yeah, the workplace when it comes to this profession, the workplace is a little bit dynamic. Yeah, why is it dynamic? Because you work on a variety of projects, even in different industries. Let's say, let me use the manufacturing industry, for example. Yeah, and let's say that you're a product manager. Product manager in a manufacturing industry is quite a little bit different from that of tech. Yeah, but let's say you're a portfolio manager or a product manager in manufacturing industry. Yeah, you're not just going to be handling one product. You're going to be handling multiple products. Yeah. So when it comes to, the profession, project management, it is quite, dynamic because you're working with sometimes different type of people. Yeah. And sometimes, or many times different type of products in different industry. I've also explained that we can have exponential career growth. Yeah, there is a roadmap, yeah, in becoming a project manager and evolving from just an IT project manager into something way bigger. Yeah, and also the salary is a little is yeah, it's competitive. Yeah, every tech skills the salary is competitive. But I must tell you now the market is saturated, so sometimes you might see some salaries that is not encouraging, but there are definitely a lot of companies that are going to pay good money for, to a project manager, especially when you're a project manager that have some key contributing factors, that will enable you, excel in that particular company. So moving on to the next, we talked about, I believe that Ori has also talked about the key responsibilities, of an IT project manager. Yeah, and I believe that she's talked about, the smart approach here. It must be specific, measurable, attainable, and it must also be realistic and time conscious. So we are going to move on to the opportunities, yeah, in IT project manager. Yeah, then afterwards we're going to also talk about what are the other things that you need for you to transition, because I want to believe that some of us here are looking to transition into IT project management. We're going to be talking about all these other resources. All right. So the opportunities in project manager is very, very vast. Yeah, because IT project management is not exactly, IT. Like you must work in a tech company. Yeah, you can actually work or in a hospital and you're the IT project manager, you're an IT project manager. You can work in the finance industry and you're an IT project manager. Even in the government institutes, you can work there and you can be an IT project manager. So the industry, yeah, uh, is accommodating to all industries accommodating to project IT project manager. Yeah, and there are different specialization again because you're an IT project manager. Yeah, okay, because you're a project manager in a healthcare industry does not mean that you have everything it takes for you to excel as a project manager in the oil and gas industry. Now, this is coming from someone that has worked in different industry as a program manager and also a project manager here. So it's the dynamics, is quite different, but all of them follows a basic fundamental rule of project management. All right. So you can be a project manager, yeah, for just software solutions. Yeah. And you can be a project manager, for tech infrastructure solutions. Yeah. So there's when I say tech infrastructure, I'm talking about base infrastructure that powers SaaS products, that software as a service product, and some other, type of products. Yeah. But being a project manager as in a software-driven organization, yeah, I'm talking about maybe apps like Facebook, apps like Uber, apps like Bolt, yeah, Bolt, and some of the other products that you are software that you're very, very familiar with on your phone. Yeah. Now, as an IT project manager, many a times you can work from anywhere. Now, I want to believe that some of us here, go to work like every day. Yeah. But as an IT project manager, many a times, yeah, you don't really have to, be in the office, except maybe it's the office policy, yeah, before, you get your job done. Yeah. Because most of the time you're going to be talking, you're going to be trying to ensure that everybody gets to do what needs to be done at the agreed point in time. Yeah. So it's going to be more your job, yeah, your job scope will be uh, primarily interacting and getting to ensure that you move everybody to the required position. Yeah, and the global opportunities for IT project management, it's very, very big. Yeah, you cannot say because an IT project manager in Nigeria, you cannot be an IT project manager in the UK. Yeah, no, you can be an IT project manager everywhere, anywhere. Just set your mind to it, search for jobs, and you'll be shocked that some companies out there will reach out to you, for interviews. So I would advise the people, yeah, that especially some of us that are interested in international, jobs, to not feel like because you're an entry level, or because you are working in Nigeria does not qualify you to work out there. It's not true. As an IT project manager, you can work in different organizations. Okay, for example, I think it's last year. Yeah, last year, and this is not as an IT project manager. Yeah. I worked with a company in Norway. Yeah. And I was in Nigeria. I worked in a company with Norway for a couple of months. Yeah. As a business development specialist. Yeah. And this is me in Nigeria, with different experiences. And most of my experience is around Africa, not even outside, the shores of Africa. Do you understand? So that's it. So moving on here, I'm going to talk about, the career roadmap of a product, of a project manager. Yeah. So I'm going to picture everyone here as we are starting out to transition ourselves into IT project management. Yeah. And there are some primary things that you need to understand. Now, number one, a lot of us might think that maybe because you don't have a bachelor degree in computer science, we might not be able to, thrive in this profession. That's a big lie. I studied economics, and I'm sure some of us here must have studied maybe one funny course, maybe botanical, something. Yeah, I want to believe so. Yeah. So you don't really need, a particular degree before you venture into, IT project management. However, you can learn IT project management and many test skills without even having any certification. But if you get to a point, and this is the truth, nobody might tell you this, but you have to get to you get to a point where it is required for you to get one type of certification or the other in your area or your line of specialization. So because I said that you don't need to have a degree or you have any certificate to start in this career, does not mean that you are still not going to need it in the future. So we're going to be talking about that as we move forward. All right. So secondly, starting out as an entry-level IT project manager, you need to gain experience. Like in the IT industry, yeah, it is not like the olden days where you must have BSc in law, you must have, masters, you must have all the certifications that, have different type of botanical names, yeah, before you start out. No, it's not like that anymore. What we just need in the IT industry is one, your commitment, yeah, your determination, your diligence, yeah, and your experience. With these four things, yeah, you can thrive well in whatever area of specialization in the IT space of your choosing. All right. So I would advise that you start out by, going for internships, yeah, and from there within 3 months, ensure that you give it your all. Because if you don't give it your all, you will not be able to get to the height you want to get. Because in the IT space is one of the very few industry where you can easily give yourself, a plan, a very, very concise plan that this is what you want to achieve at this point in time. And if you are committed to it, you are going to achieve it. Now, this is not a predefined structure that you must go through. Unlike, let's say, back in the days, if you say you want to become maybe a manager, yeah, in a pension organization, you know that for you to be, they've even given you the criteria. You must have like 30 something years of experience. You must have this, you must have that. These are the criteria you must meet. So you know that for you to get to something years of experience, you need to like, you have grown gray hair inside your ear. You get. So in the IT space, it's not like that. Yeah, you can give yourself a 2 years plan. You are the one that we are like the how will I put it? You are the one that will engineer your destiny in that industry. Nobody will do that for you. So I always advise people that are starting out, you have to always ensure that you give more. If you give your all at the beginning, at the start of your career, and it only gets easy as you move forward. All right. So you can go and volunteer for different projects. You can, just call a friend and tell me, oh, you want to be the product, let me project manage for you for free. Yeah, that way you are gaining experience. Yeah. You also need to network. Yeah. And this is something that I personally did not learn on time when I started out. Networking is very, very important in building a career in the IT space. Yeah, very, very important. So you might go for, gatherings like this. You might go for events. Yeah, talk to people. Yeah, because most times, yeah, in the IT space, yeah, the people that get the good jobs, or when you venture into the IT space proper, you realize that all the good jobs and good gigs that you get, you did not apply for it. It's actually people within your network, that, recommended you, or just, share you this information that you key into. So networking is very, very key. Now, another thing about IT project management that a lot of people don't take seriously. I also didn't take it seriously when I started. Yeah, because when I started, not a lot of people, know about, project management in the IT space. Yeah, then it was project management in the oil and gas. You hear Nabosh, you hear HSC, that is what everybody hear. That's what everybody know about project management. Yeah, back then. Yeah. So you need to ensure that, even though you don't reach out to this person every time, but always find a way to keep in touch with people that know more than you. Always try find a way to, I don't want to call it mentorship, yeah, but always try as much as possible to seek advice and also, seek some guidance from people with more experience than you. It is very, very, very important. All right. So I also want to make mention of that. Now, when it comes to advancing your career, I mentioned this earlier, yeah, that to get to a point in your career that you would require to take, a professional course. Now, when you get to that level, yeah, this is the level where you have gained a high amount of skill sets and you're trying to, move into another level. Yeah, most times maybe when you are, trying to, get some, international role that, the job description will require you to have some level of certification. Or maybe some of us here are trying to get a Canada PR. Yeah, all these things are quite, yeah, very, very important. Yeah, or maybe you get to a structured ecosystem like the UK here and you're trying to get a senior project management job, yeah, it is required that you get at least this certification, because in countries like the UK, they prioritize specialized certificate or specialized programs that you have gone through over the normal degree that everybody knows about. Yeah, so there are different levels of project management certification that you can go for. Now, project management is divided into different types. Yeah, and I believe that the former facilitator has communicated that with us here. Yeah, so we have the agile part and we have the waterfall part. Yeah, there are some other parts too that I believe that she must have talked about. Yeah, so if you are an agile project manager, yeah, IT project manager, there are some courses that you need to take. You can start from the very basics, yeah, by getting a Scrum Master Foundation course, or you can get a product owner foundation course. Yeah, at the very least, having that certificate will make you become recognized in almost all over the world. Yeah, because it's an internationally recognized certificate. Now, in the UK, you can get a Prince 2. You can start from the Prince 2 practitioner. Maybe, we have two levels of Prince 2, level 1 and level 2. You can start from level 1, yeah, and or you go through PMI, yeah. Some people even go as far as taking a master's in project management. So you can also do that too. However, always ensure that you have a specialization. That does not mean that, because you're an agile project manager, you don't know how to, use the waterfall model. Yeah. I think it was early last month. Yeah, I was in a session with a non-commercial bank in Nigeria, where they were looking at having some type of training in IT project management. Yeah, and they were very, very particular about how to use Jira for waterfall. Yeah, so you ensure that you keep yourself abreast onto all these methodologies. All right, so moving on. So we have the long-term career goals of project manager, and I believe I've already explained that to you. So we have different roles. I've talked about the entry-level roles. I've talked about the mid-level roles. For the senior level roles, we have senior project manager. We have program manager. Yeah, so program manager means that you're managing multiple projects, yeah, at the same time. Yeah, so we call them program managers. In some companies, they call them portfolio managers. Yeah, you can also be a product manager. Yeah, and the list is endless, and that is for the senior roles. Then for the executive roles, you can become maybe a director of IT. Yeah, some people might be shocked that you're not programming, but how are you how can you become a director of IT? Yes, in the process of you managing multiple projects, multiple people, in your subconscious, yeah, unknowingly, you would have picked a thing or two. Yeah, and what does the director of IT does? He manages the IT department and IT people. And what does the project manager do? I mean, what does the project manager do? You get. So you can also become a chief information officer. Yeah, you can also become, a business officer, chief business officer. You can become a chief strategy officer. Yeah, especially when you build more experience as a product manager. You can become a chief product manager. The list is also endless. Yeah, and you can also decide that, what, like, my people in McKinsey. Yeah, McKinsey is a consulting firm. Yeah, when they, after like 5 years of experience in McKinsey, they just, opt out and become consultants for many big organizations. So you can also become a consultant, yeah, for different organizations. So that's about, the trajectory of being, opportunities in IT project management. I also want to talk to you about the pros and cons because everything I've talked about might sound like, oh, this is nice, this is cool, this is, yeah, it's cool. But there is pros and there is cons in this line of profession. All right, so we're going to talk about, the pros here. I've mentioned one, high demand for skills, like, there is a continuous demand for project managers. Yeah. In some, again, I mentioned earlier that, you might see some jobs that does not, for example, in the UK, you might hear that they're looking for maybe a service manager. Yeah, it's the same thing as project manager. Yeah, so the work scope is like that of a project manager. Yeah, so you would need to also pay attention to all those things, and the demand for this profession is high. It's even way higher than it was like 2 years ago, when it was almost like a bubble bust. Yeah, and yeah, the pros is that you can earn big salary. Yeah, you can either as a consultant, you can earn big salary, especially when you find yourself in the right place. Yeah. Also just like saying, as a clerk, yeah, you let's say a clerk, yeah, and be a clerk for a local government, you earn a small salary. And if you're a clerk in a big organization, yeah, it might look like you're earning big, but it's still small, compared to the standard of that organization. But that does not apply to IT project manager. As an IT project manager, sometimes you can even earn more than your superiors. Yeah, that not a project manager like you get. So that's it. Yeah. So project manager can lead you to different career paths. Yeah, because you're exposed to different aspects, concerning a project, especially when it comes to stakeholders management. Yeah, so over time, you would have gained some type of experience that, you normally would not have gained if you are working as maybe a programmer, or maybe you're working as, an administrator or an HR. Yeah, some things that project manager knows when it comes to managing people that many HRs don't even know. You get so these are the things that project manager can lead you to. You can easily move from just a project manager to even becoming a programmer, to becoming a cybersecurity expert, because you also be having to discuss with these solution architects, backend developers, DevOps. You'll be talking with them. Yeah, so you also need to, like, the career path, it can lead you to different diverse area. So I've talked about engaging work and then dynamic work ecosystem for you as a project manager, because you're working on different variety of projects. You're going to be solving different type of problems. Trust me, you'll be solving problems. You're solving problems on the project. You're also going to be solving people's problems, because you don't want someone, that have, let's say, an accident. Yeah, God forbid, maybe a motor accident, or maybe someone having issues with his wife. Yeah, and let's say this man is a key man, like he poses a key man risk to your team. You don't have someone like that having personal issues and it's affecting his work. Because if it affects the work, it affects the project. If it affects the project, it affects your goal and the task. If it affects the goal and the task, it affects the overall vision, overall, company vision or stakeholder vision, for the delivery of that project. So, you see how it works. You need to find a way to ensure that everybody's in good shape, yeah, to get your, or you take on contingencies plans, yeah. You must have identified the risk at the beginning of your project. Yeah, you will have done like a risk matrix, yeah, and you'll be able to identify the risk that, okay, if this happened, what is the contingency you get? So that's that. So professional growth, I've talked about that, flexibility and remote work here, IT, we do remote. Then let's move on to the cons of project management. So number one, high stress levels. High stress levels. See, if you are not someone, please, if you are not someone that have high stress tolerance. Trust me, you're going to be frustrated in this line of business, in this career path. You'll be very, very frustrated. And this is me telling you the truth. I'm not sugarcoating anything. Yeah, and I'm not trying to scare you. Yeah, you need to stretch your tolerance level for stress. Yeah, because you're going to be under pressure a lot of the times. Yeah, you need to be meeting deadline. And see, the nature of projects here is that they don't finish. That's what you need to know. So any project manager you meet that tells you that he started a project and he finished it, trust me, that project manager it needs to be worshipped. Yeah. I'm not saying that project don't get finished, but every odds is usually against the project manager. You think you have it all planned out? Start the project. Just start the project. You think everything is going well, you'll be shocked when the company tell you that, oh, they don't have enough funds. Or the money that they're expecting did not come. And you need to manage that. You need to manage everybody's expectations. Yeah. So you need to have high stress tolerance. It is very, very important. Yeah. Not to even talk about conflicts, because sometimes, let me tell you the truth, when you're managing projects here, most of the times, the product designer is always having issues with the front-end developer. That's one. The back-end developer and the front-end developer are always having issues with the quality assurance. That is the testers. Do you get? Now, the DevOps here are also usually have issues with the developers sometimes. So all these things are conflicts here that you can never do it. Like it will always happen. Yeah, one conflict will happen. And you are, as a project manager, you need to ensure that these conflicts don't escalate to the point that is going to affect your project. So you need to find a way to ensure that the conflict never even exists in the first place. Even though if it does, you always need to manage it. So there's a lot of managing here and there, pressure here, pressure there, sleepless nights, so you need to have a high stress tolerance level. Right. So long hours, yeah, again, it's still related to high stress tolerance. You're going to be working long hours. As a project manager, yeah, you work more than almost everybody. Yeah. Because if the project have one issue, or there's maybe a concern that is being raised, yeah, or there's a risk that wasn't properly managed, yeah, the first person they will call is the project manager. You get, so you'll be required to work long hours. Sometimes, in this part of the world, you also be required to, be writing different documentation. But if you're an agile project manager, it is the product, excuse me, if an agile project manager is the product owner that will be responsible to writing some documentations. However, as a project manager, it is still your responsibility to ensure that some documentations are properly organized, properly documented, and properly communicated. Communication is also a very, very key aspect of project management. I believe Ore explained that to you. Now, another thing about project management is that you also need to keep up with, the ever-evolving technology in the industry, technology changes in the industry, because, there was a time that this platform, Trello, yeah, was like the best, and it was easy to use project management tool. Yeah, and before you know it, the same company that did uh, developed Trello came out with Jira, then came up with Confluence, then we have ClickUp. Then before you know it, Notion came. All these other things. So you need to find a way to always keep up with the technology changes. Yeah. So we also and aside that, yeah, we also have some situations where you're managing a project here and everything looks all smooth here, and you got to a point, maybe a particular feature that is left to be developed, and you got to realize at the dying minutes that the code base that was used to develop this solution, that at the very beginning, yeah, does not have the required component to develop that particular feature. It happens many times. Yeah. Then you now have to now wrap your head on, okay, what is the others code, all the other stack that we can use. Can this stack fit into, the entire architecture of what we're working on? So all these things you always need to try as much as possible. You keep up with, the industry trends. Yeah. For some of us here that are developers, yeah, when Flutter came, a lot of people kicked it back. But as of today, when it comes to UA user experience, fluidity, Flutter is above React. All right, so let us move on to the cons. Yeah, high expectations and accountability. As a project manager, you need to be accountable for everything. Yeah, you're accountable for either the success or the failure of the project. You're accountable for managing stakeholders' expectations, like multiple stakeholders' expectations. You're also accountable for identifying and mitigating risks that can be a big challenge. Or should I say there can even be a challenge at all? Yeah, it is not easy to be a project manager. Yeah, and yes, there's always a constraint. Like there is no project in this life that does not have a constraint. There's always a constraint. It can be budget constraints, it can be resource constraints, it can be human resource constraints. Yeah, and sometimes it can be technology constraints. Yeah, there was a time, I think that was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Yeah, I jumped on a project. Yeah, and they were talking about AI. Yeah, and as of that time, ChatGPT was not ChatGPT of today. She gets so the person wants text to image AI that a lot of people just got to know about it, and this is happening. I got to know about it 3 years ago. Do you get what I'm saying? I've already started this project, and we got alpha. Like, man, I'm not sure that we can continue because this is already too much. Yeah, like this is too much to handle because the kind of research we're doing at that time was crazy, like crazy as research. All right. So, there's always constraints. Yeah. Managing projects with limited resources and manpower. I've talked about that. Dealing with changes. Yeah, there's another problem. Like that's like the biggest problem that we face. Yeah, which is managing scope creeps. Yeah, especially when you're working in an organization where, it is all whatever the management says you must do. Yeah, I'm currently consulting for an organization, yeah, in the oil and gas industry. And that is one big challenge that we're currently having. Yeah. A project that was supposed to be done in 3 months. We are 90% done with that project at the third month, middle of the third month. Then the management came up and like, oh, we need to add this feature. If we don't have this feature, we cannot go live. Yeah, and that feature was so big. It was so big that it has ended up to eat up to like 4 or 5 months right now. Yeah, and we are still not done. All right. So, these are another constraints that we have, we used to experience in IT project management. So we also have, okay, so this is not really a con, yeah. And like I mentioned, yeah, when it comes to certification, when you have someone that is more experienced that can guide you, I don't think you're going to have issues. However, because in this part of the world, yeah, the economy is not really encouraging, which has affected our currency, yeah, our naira currency, yeah. So the prices of some certification might be quite expensive, yeah, and that can be a con for us, yeah. So I think that is all I have for now, yeah, because I think I've written, okay, I've written almost 50 minutes already. Yeah, so I'm going to just rest uh my presentation a little and get some questions. So I'll allow Modesta to take the stage, to coordinate the questions that you must have for me. But I hope I have not bombarded everyone with so much information about the opportunities, the pros and cons in IT project management. So I look forward to hearing from you. Modesta, you can have the stage now. Oh, mic check. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So, Okay, I think Mujesa is on the call. Maybe I'll just, take it off. So, does anyone have any questions for me?
Okay, let me just quickly say one or two things, if you can,
Okay.
before you come on. Yeah, I just want
Okay.
to appreciate what you have done. Is
Thank you.
eye-opening, and then it's actually good if you are even transiting into this kind of business. But like all that you have said, I will appreciate if you can, maybe in 2 or 3 bullet points. Can you just tell us, okay, the first thing we need to do, the second thing, and the third thing? If you can do that, like a bullet point for all, to summarize all that you have put us through this morning. Because, well, personally, me, I'm interested and I really want to move forward on this line. So I won't mind if you can give us a bullet points concerning all your training this morning. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah. So, regarding that, so the bullet pointers is this here. For you to be successful in in this line of business here, number one, you need to have a high stress tolerance level. Yeah. Number two, you need to be prepared to be accountable. Yeah. Number three, you need to be very, very good at identifying risk and managing them and mitigating them precisely. Yeah. So that's one. Now, in terms of the opportunities, in IT project management, I explained that what is required from you is one, your diligence, your commitment, and also your ability to be able to give yourself a set target of what you want to achieve at every point in time. So you can give yourself a target of like 2 years, or give yourself a target of like 6 months, you need to have gotten this. Yeah, and I also mentioned that you need to, get yourself someone that, has more experience in this line of, in this career path, that will guide you, towards, making the right decision as you progress in this career path. So if you can do all these things, I think, yeah, you are going to be able to do well and thrive well in this line of career path, because every other one will always come as secondary. Yeah, because primarily, for you to transition in this line, in this part, it's more about you building yourself in terms of understanding the fundamentals of IT project management, gaining experience, and meeting with people in this and networking with people in this space. So that's it. Every other thing comes secondary.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So I am welcoming questions. Anybody? So I saw that Mr. Stanley came in. I saw that, I think Mr. Ayomikun came into, much later in the session. So I want to believe that you have some questions to share. Oh, it's fine. It's fine, Mr. Stanley.
Good evening.
All right.
Good evening, Mr. Glinga.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I joined later because the network was actually giving me issue. I have to
okay. Sorry about that.
Platform to join. Though I missed a few things. But those things that I met I really gained from it. But my question is, in IT, I know IT project management is very, very wide, dynamic. So,
yes,
but my question is that how do you streamline your approach in being an expert in project management? For example, I know the different aspects like agile aspect of it and other parts. How do I streamline my focus in it and be able to get in the heart of the entire profession. Because if any organization needs my service, what would they be looking for? So I can go for that thing and hit it hard. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Yokunle. All right. So, if I'm to get your question well, you're saying that how can you streamline uh, uh, your area of specialization in IT project management, such a way that you can maximize the potential, to the fullest. So I want to believe that that is what I'm trying to interpret the question that you're asking. Yeah.
You are right.
Am I correct? All right. So yes. So it starts like this. Yeah. Number one, you need to understand the fundamentals of IT project management. That's number one. Number two, yeah, it depends on the type of company, yeah, that you want to work with. Yeah. So let's say that you get a job in, let's say, a software development company like Creating. Yeah. Creating offers their style of project management is let's say agile. They adopt the agile way of working. Yeah. And it is required for you to learn agile project management. Yeah. So as an agile project manager, yeah, you need to go and learn all the approaches under agile. So we have Scrum, we have Kanban, yeah, we have XP, Extreme Programming, we have different, approaches under the agile methodology. Now, Creating might just be using Scrum, which means that you need to understand everything around Scrum and maybe get some certifications in that approach under the agile project management. All right. So once you're able to do that, yeah, you'll be able to excel as an agile project manager. It is not necessary that you must, as an agile project manager, you must learn Scrum, learn Kanban, learn XP. It is not necessary. You just need to be specific to the industry, especially to the company that you are working with. So you need to ensure that what the company requires, yeah, from you as an IT project manager is what you are giving to them. And once you give a company what they want, they are happy and you excel. It's as simple as that. Now, as you grow, yeah, as you grow in that company, yeah, and you want to move into another company, the other company might require something a little bit different. But that does not mean that you're starting from scratch. What it means is that you are just, from what you know, you're just adding to your knowledge and you'll be able to excel in that industry. So I don't know if I've been able to answer your question. So it's not really about, having to learn everything. Be specific to what the company needs, the company you're working with, what it needs. Now, and I'm going to put this on the flip side. There are some organizations that will require you, to help them with the project management structure. Do you get? So I always advise that you adopt the agile way of working because that is what is globally accepted. Now, not that they don't accept waterfall and the other ones, but agile way of working has been proven more efficient, than the rest. So that is it. I don't know if I've been able to answer your question, Mr. Yokunle.
Thank you very much. I've been able to I just want to be sure that because of the broadness of the industry, I want to be sure of where I'm focusing in because I'm trying
Yes.
to develop a lot of I'm trying to see where I actually go in that respect. So that's what I'm asking. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. I think I saw some comments.
Thank you so much for the class, sir. I've actually been following you on YouTube. Yeah, and I also dropped a question in the chat box.
Okay. Okay, so what are some of the best practice for creating and managing a project schedule? And how do you deal with delays and ensure project timelines are met? All right, so this is two in one question, Modesta. All right, so the best practice for creating and maintaining a project schedule, yeah. So it's quite of varies. So I'm going to tell you how I do it. Yeah. So one of the very, very, very first thing I do is documentation. Yeah, and people that have worked with me can tell that, okay, when it comes to documentation, yeah, I am like, I don't joke with it. Yeah, most times I don't even start a project without documentation because I've had bad experiences starting a project without any documentation. And it doesn't end well because there will always be something that was overlooked or something that was not properly thought of. Yeah, so the documentation helps. So once I have that documentation and then adopt a project management tool that best suits the team. Yeah, because over the years, I've got to realize that not all programmers or not all development team are familiar with all types of project management tools. Many of them are familiar with Trello, but you'll be shocked that some of people still don't know how to use Trello. Yeah, and they're in the IT space. Yeah, so sometimes I even adopt something as simple as Excel. Yeah. So, but most times I use Trello, I use Jira, yeah, to schedule the project. Yeah. Now, the next thing you need to do is also to engage with the team. Before starting to allocate tasks to the team, you need to engage with them in such a way that they understand the scope of the project, they understand what needs to be done, yeah, and you work with them to identify what they want to work on, yeah, within a period of time, yeah, and you also ensure that what has been agreed, yeah, are being met. Now, the next question is, how do you deal with delays and ensure project timelines are met? Now, two things, yeah. Number one, yeah, I always do risk analysis. Before I start a project, I might not write it down, yeah, but I would have identified the possible risks that I may encounter. That is why most times when I encounter some risks, yeah, or when I encounter some challenge, some people are always very, very, shrewd as to how I'm able to be very calm and how fast I'm able to find an alternative. Yeah, and this is not like it's not like I'm a magician. Yeah, it's just that I've identified the risks. Sometimes I might just sit alone and just be simulating the whole project engagement from start to finish. Yeah, and I find, what if this person will come tomorrow and say it's not going to work again, or he say that he's resigning because somebody insulted his girlfriend in the team. Yeah. So in my head, I'm like, okay, if that is the case, I need to ensure that everybody, all the developers that are working on this project, yeah, properly document their code base in an agreed structure. So their command needs to be in an agreed structure, and they need to put it on a repository, a version controller, such a way that when they say they're not doing again, somebody else might can easily pick up from where they left off and continue the project. Do you understand? So now, how am I able to ensure project timelines are met? Most of the time, I don't sleep. I call all the people that I need to call. I marshal all the people I need to marshal here, especially the stakeholders, the product owners or process owners. I always try as much as possible to give them updates because most times projects don't hit the deadline that was initially agreed upon. So proper communication with all stakeholders is very, very key. Now, when the project is going to exceed, okay, for example, there's a project that was supposed to be completed by the first week of August. Now, due to some circumstances, yeah, and prioritization from the product owner, yeah, some resources was not made available. Now, I had to properly communicate with the product owner and the client that because this is not available, this financial resource is not available for us to move forward, it is going to delay the project at this X amount of time. So what this means is that there is a mutual agreement that when this is made available, this is the timeline it's going to take to finish this project. Once it is agreed, everybody is in a win-win situation and we move forward. So that is how I am able to ensure that project timelines are met, communication and proper stakeholders management. Now, you guys will keep hearing me saying stakeholders, stakeholders, stakeholders. The development team are also stakeholders. Yeah, you are also, as a project manager, also a stakeholder in that particular project. So when I say stakeholders, I'm talking about everybody that, are directly and indirectly working on the project. So that's it. Modesta, I hope
All
I've
right,
been able
thank
to
you
answer
so
your
much
question.
for that answer. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Gwenga.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. So I'm
Okay, Mr.
very
Yokule.
happy. Yeah. I just want to ask
Huh?
this question, don't mind me. In this time of proliferation of certification by various organizations, what do you advise in terms of, though you made mention earlier that certification is not the first, but what do you advise in where and how to get the certification? What do you advise on that?
All right, so there are different levels of certification. Yeah, there is one, and all levels are also recognized, but one is more recognized than the other. So we have the, you know, some local certification from certified trainers. Yeah, once you get the certificate, it's also recognized, but it's cannot most times not recognized, in a wider sphere. Yeah. So for example, you go on creating, you take creating training, yeah, and you get a certificate. Now, because creating is known in Nigeria and creating is known to producing good candidates, yeah, many companies would want to employ you, yeah, because they know that you actually learned from a certified organization. Yeah. Now, however, when you on a wider sphere, yeah, you need to be globally recognized. Yeah. In this time, yeah, you would need, in fact, some people in the UK have also used creating certificate to get a job. Yeah, as a point of reference, though, that they actually learned project management and learned some other tech skills. Yeah. However, yeah, there are some internationally recognized organizations. Those are the originators of many of some of these certificates that you are aware of, like the Agile. Yeah, we have Scrum Inc. and we also have Scrum Org. Yeah, these two bodies, yeah, are the international bodies that provide the certification for, agile project management certificates. Now, we also have Prince 2. Yeah, Prince 2 is UK. Yeah, you cannot really say Prince 2 is an internationally recognized, but it's recognized by some countries, but not all countries. Yeah, so if you have Prince 2 certificate, yeah, it is more recognized in the UK than many other countries. Now, if you have PMI, Project Management Institute certification, yeah, it is recognized all over the world, but not very recognized in the UK. So all you need to do is identify what certificate you need at every point in time. Because I'm not going to advise you that you're just starting out, you don't even have experience to go and take on PMI. PMI is quite expensive. And you take on PMI and you're looking for a job based on the qualification you have, you're not going to get it. Now, that is one bitter truth about the tech space. The tech space don't really look at your certificates, especially when you're starting out. They look at your certificate when you have good experience. So if you have very good experience, I don't have certificate, they might not really recognize you as they should. So you see how, in how tricky it is. Yeah. So in the tech space, yeah, you need to have experience first. Yeah. Then certification comes next. And for the certification, you need to identify what certification you need at every point in time. Don't jump the gun. That is my advice. I don't know if I've been able to answer your question, Mr. Yokole.
Thank you, Mr. Winga.
All right. So any other question? Okay. Modest, over to you, please.
All right. So thank you so much, sir, for honoring our invitation to teach us about project management, and I'll ensure I put this into practice. I'm not a project manager, but I think we all have projects we handle, whether we're project managers or not. So this would be really helpful. We appreciate, and I know you will do this with us again when we ask you to. Thank you for imparting us today. So if that will be all, no questions again, I think we'll call it a day.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. Bye.